Are you tired of being overlooked, ignored, treated as if your presence is optional, not essential? Good, because today I will show you one transformation, one adjustment that, once applied, will force the world to recalculate your worth. And not with noise, but with silence, power, and perception. You think people see you for who you are, for your values, for your intelligence, for your character, but they don't. They never have. The truth is far more brutal and far more useful. People do not respond to reality. They respond to perception, to signals, to symbols. You are treated not based on your inner worth, but on the story you project intentionally or not. And this is where the weak suffer most. They believe effort is enough. They believe good intentions are visible. They believe sincerity is self-evident. But let me tell you a cruel truth from the corridors of power. Sincerity is invisible without stagecraft. Your value must be constructed like armor, visible, deliberate, and undeniable. Otherwise, the world steps over you while pretending you don't exist. So if you want to be treated differently, not someday, not eventually, but starting the moment you step into a room, you must do something you've likely never been taught. You must craft your presence like a weapon. Begin here. How do you look when you enter? Not just your clothes, though those matter, but the way you walk, your pace. Do you seem like someone with a purpose, or someone waiting to be told what to do? Authority does not speak with words, it speaks with posture. Are your shoulders slouched forward, inviting pity, or squared back, commanding attention? Now consider your face. Most people wear their inner turmoil like a billboard. Every emotion, every insecurity, every plea for approval is written in their expression. But power requires mask, stillness, a face that reveals nothing unless it chooses to. The powerful smile not because they're liked, but because they control the temperature of the room. Your voice, it should not rise at the end of every sentence like a question. Questions seek permission. Power asserts, speak slowly, speak less. Let silence fill the air before and after your words. It creates gravity, it makes others lean in. Understand this, people scan you for hierarchy. They are unconsciously asking, where do you stand in the social order? And if you do not answer with your presentation, they will assign you a rank and it will be low. Even your shoes, your grooming, your gaze, all of it speaks, and the world listens. You might say, but I'm not fake. I just want to be myself. That's what they want you to believe, that authenticity and invisibility are noble twins. But being yourself does not mean being careless with your image. It means expressing your core strategically. That is not deception, that is intelligence. Think of a king. A king does not walk fast. A king does not laugh too easily. A king is not eager. A king receives attention. And what do people do around a king? They watch, they speak carefully. They treat him with weight because he carries weight. And not through constant demands, but through constant presence. When you shift perception, you shift behavior. People interrupt the weak. They wait for the strong to finish speaking. People gossip about the uncertain. They lower their voice when speaking about the feared. People doubt the passive. They follow the composed. You could be brilliant, but if you move like a shadow, no one will chase you. You could be kind, but if you smile too easily, they will assume you need them. Change one thing, your projected self, and everything else recalibrates. Suddenly, your words seem deeper, your silence more powerful, your presence more respected. And it's not because you've changed your mind. It's because you've changed your signal. The moment you master perception, even if only for one moment, one conversation, one entrance into one room, you begin to shape how the world responds to you. This is not charisma. This is architecture. Watch closely how others operate. The respected, the admired, the feared, they're not always the smartest or most talented, but they understand this law. People treat you the way you teach them to. Not through lessons or speeches, but through your presence, through your aura, through every word you don't say and every glance you don't return. You've seen this in action. The man who walks in silence, yet everyone notices. The woman who says little, but everyone waits to hear. The leader who doesn't justify their position because their presence already declares it. This is perception, sharpened into dominance. And the shift doesn't require a lifetime. It can happen in a single moment. One change in the way you carry yourself. One decision to stop explaining, to stop apologizing, to stop inviting disrespect through excessive openness. The game begins the second you step out of your home. And the ones who understand this game rule it. They told you to speak up, to always express yourself, to share your thoughts openly, and they lied, not because they wanted to help you, but because they wanted to disarm you. Because the louder you are, the more they can read you, and the more they can read you, the easier you are to control. That is the first rule of power. Never be predictable. Never be transparent. Never let your tongue move faster than your mind. There is a difference between having a voice and needing to use it. The powerful choose their words like weapons, precise, sharp, and scarce. The weak, on the other hand, use language to feel seen. They explain, they defend, they try to win sympathy with long stories and emotional bursts. But in the court of power, noise is weakness. Silence is strength. You walk into a room, people talk, they laugh, they overshare. You remain quiet, observant. You scan, you listen, you study. In that moment, you are not absent. You are building, you are gathering leverage, because every word you don't say is a thread of tension. And tension bends people more than talk ever will. When you remain silent, people begin to project. They create narratives around you. Is he confident? Is he dangerous? Does she know something I don't? Their curiosity becomes your control. Their imagination becomes your advantage. Because silence is not just the absence of sound, it is the presence of pressure. And pressure unsettles the unprepared. Most people talk to prove something: intelligence, friendliness, relevance. But the ones who need to prove nothing say the least. You will notice this in the ones who truly lead. They speak rarely and only when necessary. Their silence makes their words feel heavier. Their pauses make people wait, listen, adjust. And the room always bends toward their gravity. Ask yourself, how often do you speak just to fill space? How often do you explain when silence would have said more? Every unnecessary word you offer is a piece of leverage you surrender. Every time you rush to clarify yourself, you shrink your mystique. The powerful are not defined by what they say, but by what they withhold. The mindless chatter you engage in may feel harmless, but it is erosion of presence, erosion of power. Silence, when used deliberately, becomes a cloak that hides your hand, a fog that masks your intentions. It turns every movement into a statement, every glance into an impact. Now, this silence is not passive. It is not shy, it is controlled. You are not silent because you fear judgment. You are silent because you understand its value. You are not silent because you are small. You are silent because you are choosing to be vast. There's a reason interrogators fear silence more than shouting. A person who yells is revealing their position. A person who sits still, unmoved, unreadable, that person is dangerous. That person forces the room to guess, to react, to tip their hand. That person owns the room without even needing to speak. Think of the last conversation where you gave away too much. Did you rush to fill the silence? Did you overshare to avoid discomfort? Did you give them answers they never earned? The next time, don't. Let the silence linger. Let them speak first. Let them wonder. Let them feel the discomfort instead of you. Controlled silence is not about withholding out of fear, it's about using absence as presence. Every second you withhold your voice, your energy intensifies. You become a mirror. People start talking just to break the tension, and the more they talk, the more they reveal. Their need to escape silence exposes their desires, their fears, their motives. Meanwhile, you stay composed, calculating, patient, unreadable. There is a time to speak, but before that moment arrives, make silence your weapon. Let your stillness speak for you. Let your restraint become your dominance. A silent figure who observes with calm detachment holds more power than a loud figure trying to convince. The more chaotic the world becomes, the more silence becomes a sign of control. Everyone is addicted to reaction, drowning in noise, desperate to be heard. But the one who remains still, deliberate, unbothered, that person stands out without effort. That person does not chase influence. Influence comes to them. Use silence not as escape but as strategy. Let others reveal themselves while you say nothing. Let them race to impress while you remain grounded. Let them chase validation while you radiate calm. This is not just about talking less, it's about mastering space, about turning absence into authority. Once you understand this, silence will no longer feel like emptiness. It will feel like power. Real, silent, unshakable power that forces the world to lean in, listen closely, and treat you differently. There is a moment in every interaction where emotion tries to take control. Someone offends you, and you want to defend yourself. Someone ignores you, and you want to be noticed. Someone pulls away, and you feel the urge to chase. That's the moment the average person loses power. Because power does not react emotionally, power observes. Power calculates. Power stays still when others tremble. Indifference is not weakness. It is not numbness. It is strategy. It is presence without attachment. It is participation without dependence. And most importantly, it is control without begging for control. You are trained to believe that to care deeply, to react quickly, to be emotionally involved is what makes you human. But what makes you powerful is the opposite. Power lies in your ability to detach from what others chase. Your ability to remain unfazed when others need validation. The man who needs nothing becomes the most dangerous presence in the room. You walk into a conversation. People are playing their usual games, subtle insults, exaggerated praise, subtle tests. You don't flinch, you don't laugh too hard, you don't try to prove anything. They notice, not because you said something clever, but because you didn't respond the way they expected. That one deviation, that quiet resistance, marks you as different, and difference creates weight. The weak are addicted to approval. They respond to compliments like starving dogs and react to disrespect like children. But strategic indifference isn't about pretending not to care, it's about deciding where your attention lies. You do not reward chaos with your emotion. You do not reward disrespect with your explanation. You rise above both, not out of pride, but out of design. People test boundaries constantly. They'll insult you with a smile. They'll ghost you for attention. They'll question your value just to see if you defend it. Every one of these moments is an invitation to react, to break form, to lose ground. Your power lies in denying that invitation. You don't chase, you don't argue, you simply move on, and in doing so, you rise. Understand this: people respect what they can't manipulate, and the moment you become emotionally reactive, you give them the blueprint to control you. But when they cannot get a rise out of you, when they cannot touch your calm, they are forced to reevaluate your worth. Suddenly, your silence becomes intimidating, your stillness becomes mysterious, and your indifference becomes captivating. It's not about ignoring everything, it's about selective engagement. You respond only when it serves your position. You express only when it multiplies your influence. And when someone tries to drag you into emotional warfare, you let them exhaust themselves. You don't defend your throne to every attacker. A lion does not reply to barking dogs. It stays seated until it's time to strike. Indifference is not the absence of interest, it is the presence of superiority. It tells the world, I do not need your approval to feel whole. I do not need your attention to feel alive. That is what makes others chase you. Because you have become the rare thing in a world full of thirst, someone who does not chase. The greatest leverage is to walk away, not in anger, but in complete calm. When someone senses that your mind cannot be hijacked, your emotions cannot be baited, and your peace cannot be disturbed, they feel your value rise. Even your enemies become curious. They wonder how they can influence a person who remains motionless in the face of pressure. That curiosity becomes obsession. Let others be loud. Let them scream, complain, boast, cry for attention. You don't need to match their volume. Your silence will speak louder. Your calm will draw more eyes. The most attractive person in any room is the one who seems least concerned with being noticed. And the irony is that's the one everyone notices. Strategic indifference is not about being cold. It is about being composed. It is the self-discipline to not let the world puppeteer your inner state. It is the mental discipline to observe drama without stepping into it, to feel disrespected and still walk tall, to feel left out and still feel whole, to be challenged and still not flinch. When people see that they cannot trigger you, they instinctively start respecting you. Their tone changes. Their behavior becomes more measured. They become cautious because they realize they are no longer dealing with someone who needs their approval, but someone who can walk away at any moment. And that is power in its purest form, not dominance through aggression, but influence through emotional mastery. Not control through force, but control through refusal. There are two types of power in any room: the power that demands attention and the power that quietly commands it. The first is loud. It shows off. It brags. It stretches itself thin to be noticed. The second is quiet. It doesn't announce itself. It simply arrives, and without trying, it becomes the center. That is the power you must seek. Not the kind that screams, "Look at me," but the kind that makes people wonder who you are. Subtle self-elevation is the art of rising without reaching. It is the ability to make people feel your presence without performing for them. Most people think respect is earned by proving yourself, by explaining your achievements, by showcasing your value like a salesman pitching a product. But those who truly possess value don't explain, they imply. You don't need to tell them who you are. You let your movements say it. The way you walk, slow and intentional. The way you sit, comfortable yet composed. The way you hold eye contact, steady, not aggressive. These are not accidental habits. They are signals, and signals matter more than statements. You speak less, but when you do, your words have weight. You don't talk about your past achievements. You let the room assume there's more to you than you reveal. You don't correct people when they misunderstand your background. You let their curiosity work for you. Because the more you say, the more you give away. But when you withhold, you make yourself rare, and rarity increases value. Those who brag are silently begging for recognition. But the one who is content with silence forces others to lean in. The one who does not need attention gets it. This is not luck. It is leverage, and that leverage begins with restraint. You enter a conversation, and others try to dominate it. Let them exhaust themselves, proving their intelligence. While they speak, you observe. While they impress, you assess. And when you finally speak, you do not raise your volume, you raise your precision. That contrast alone elevates you. Everything you do must reflect intent. Your clothes must fit well, not expensively, but with discipline. Your time must seem valuable, not because you say you're busy, but because you never rush. Your presence must suggest you have nothing to prove and everything to protect. That's the silent power that changes how people treat you. Subtle elevation is not about appearing better than others, it's about showing you are different. You're not desperate to be liked, because you are already aligned with your own value. You don't compete with noise, you dominate through presence. In a world that chases visibility, you become powerful through mystery. Even your reactions must be calculated. When someone compliments you, don't overreact. A simple nod or thank you is enough. When someone tries to provoke you, don't bite. Your lack of emotional reaction elevates you above their level. You are not avoiding emotion, you are managing it. And that management signals control. You drop pieces of your story slowly, never all at once. A name mentioned here, a project referenced there. You do not flood the room with information. You let them ask. And when they ask, answer with precision, never with desperation. You become the puzzle they want to solve, the book they want to read slowly. You are not loud, you are layered. People notice posture. They notice pauses. They notice how easily or uneasily you exist in your own skin. And the more grounded you seem, the more elevated you become in their eyes. Confidence is not loud. Real confidence whispers, it doesn't push. It stands still while others rush around it. Even in disagreement, you don't raise your tone. You raise your clarity. You don't interrupt. You let them finish. And when you speak, you do not seek to destroy, you aim to expose. And not them, but the truth. That is how leaders talk. That is how power presents itself without needing applause. You hold your ground when others shrink. You stay still when others chase. And people begin to wonder, what does he know that I don't? What is she holding back? What makes this person so calm in a world so chaotic? These questions create perception, and perception becomes status. Subtle self-elevation is the art of moving with purpose, of withholding with intelligence, of expressing without needing. You don't follow trends, you create contrast. You don't need to be loud to be heard. Your presence speaks because it refuses to beg. Your energy rises not by shouting, but by remaining undisturbed. You do not need to become someone else. You only need to stop presenting yourself the way they've trained you to. You've seen the world treat you based on noise, emotion, and constant explanation. But now you understand. Perception shapes power. Silence builds gravity. Indifference controls attention. And subtlety raises status. When you stop chasing, they begin watching. When you stop explaining, they begin wondering. When you stop reacting, they begin respecting. One shift, one decision to act with precision instead of permission will reshape the way the world looks at you. Because in the end, people follow the ones who don't ask to be followed. They serve the ones who don't compete to be seen. And they respect the one who needs nothing from them but commands everything in return. Do it once, just once. Change how you move, how you speak, how you appear. Watch how people treat you differently. And once they do, never go back.